And now I want to, oh, gosh, sorry, my screens are all messing up on me. Okay, so now I want to introduce Miss Cindy Baugh, our speaker of the hour. So Cindy is Washington State Department of Revenue's lien administrator. She is a 29-year proud public servant and has held various leadership roles in state government. She is most proud of her work helping integrate performance management and process improvement into statewide culture. Cindy joined the Department of Revenue in early 2018 as their lien administrator, and previously she helped the Department of Licensing become a statewide process improvement leader, where she also received a Governor's Distinguished Managers Award in 2015. Cindy is passionate about helping leaders or helping develop leaders and making state government a great place to work and enhancing the value of state services for all Washingtonians. I am very thrilled to present Cindy. Pass the mic over to you because I know you are going to be a wealth of knowledge for this conference, and everything you teach on is so applicable to what we do. So let's get into it, Cindy.
All right, let me just share my screen really quick, getting used to the Zoom. Let's see. Am I sharing myself, huh? There, hold on a sec here. All right, nope, you can't see that, can you?
Not yet.
Second here, share my screen. Oh, here we go. You all see
There
that?
you go.
I'm sharing the right one. You can't see my words, right?
No, ma'am, it looks
Okay.
good.
Awesome. All right. Good morning, everyone. I know we're almost to afternoon, but I am super happy that you have decided to join this session today. I am Cindy Baugh. My pronouns are she, her. I would say strawberry blonde hair now. Used to be red, gets lighter and lighter every year. And I'm wearing a teal and black shirt and excited to be here with you today. First of all, let's just jump right in. My objectives today are really to share some of the secrets of success that we've had at Department of Revenue in integrating lean into our culture. And one of those secrets really gets into the leadership buy-in support and having them really engage in that effort. I think you all probably got that from the session description, but that is my goal today. My hope is that you're going to take back some ideas from this and incorporate them in your own way, in your own organization. And I'd also like to share some lessons learned. Okay. So first and foremost, for any of you that have been in any of my sessions in the past, I typically always start with this particular slide. What's on this slide are a couple of photos of leaders recognizing employees and engaging in lean efforts. The reason why I get up every morning and come to work are on the screen here. I want employees to be really excited to come to work, to feel like they are valued for their skills and talents, and they're really using their knowledge, skills, and abilities to their fullest potential, which typically does bring along with it job satisfaction, that they are included in their process improvements, especially those things that impact their work. I don't know how many of us have been involved with an improvement where it's our work, but someone else tried to improve it for us. The outcome is much better when we are engaged, that employees are respected, and that they are trusted to make decisions that impact their work. Okay. That they are feeling empowered to fix the things that bother them about their work every day. There's small things we can do every single day to make our jobs better, thus having more job satisfaction, which in turn typically creates more value for customers and ultimately builds trust in state government. Okay, so, our taxpayers pay a lot of money into the state government, right, to fund us. So building that trust that we are using those resources in a most efficient, effective way is important. So that's what gets me excited in the morning. We are at our jobs, whether they're remote or not, probably just about as much time as we are awake in a day. So it is important that we really enjoy our work. So that's why I do what I do. Always start everything with that. So what is going to be really important, regardless of the role that you're in, okay, that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So whether you're a lean practitioner, whether you're a leader yourself, really understanding what's in it for you, what why you're doing it, because that energy does transfer over to other people. Okay, so that's really, really important. So I want to pause for a second. I just went through the things that are important, right? Employees are excited to come to work. They're valued for their skills and talents. They're included in process improvements, respected, trusted, empowered, creating value for our customers, building trust in government. Put in the chat what you think would be in it for you to do this work, right? I don't know that I can see the chat on my end.
Are you able to see it? If not, I can help you
Ah,
read.
feeling valued, make a difference, accomplishments, improving user experience, motivation, empowerment, valued, reduce duplicate work, recognition. Oh my gosh, they're popping in so fast I can't read them. Making a difference again, ownership of work, fulfillment, making government better, all of these wonderful things, right? Yeah. So as we are engaging in process improvement in our agencies, right, with our leaders or otherwise, having people really understand the why behind it, right? And your why behind it, right? Because we are the sellers of this, right? In order to sell it, you really have to understand what's in it for you. Okay. All right. So I like to always start with strategy, right? Helping leaders understand the why. We just talked about that a little bit. Why lean and continuous improvement, right? Whether you call it continuous improvement, lean, or anything we've called it in the past, really having them understand the why is really critical. Help them understand what's in it for them as individuals, right? And for the agency itself, and our Washingtonians, right? Having them understand the role in helping achieve what we're trying to achieve with continuous improvement, and also providing opportunities for them to engage in that, right? So what is their role, and then actually providing them opportunities to engage in, and then sell those opportunities, right? And before I go any further, I want to pause just a moment, because in state government, in 29 years, we have always had some form of process improvement, whether you call it lean or otherwise. And the people that came before me at revenue, that came before me at licensing, et cetera, have really helped build our culture over time. So I think of my predecessor at revenue. Okay. Sandra Kinoshita. I think about past partners, Morgan Montez and others, all of the people that I can think of that have, for me, really made a difference, really had that why for themselves, right? Before they even started trying to help others understand the why for them. So just know that if this is your passion, let that passion show. If you're a leader that wants to have an organization that really has lean or continuous improvement folded into your culture, know your passion and let that passion show, because it sells. It sells. Energy sells. Okay, so thank you for that moment of pause before I move forward. Okay, so go back to strategy. So at revenue, we spend every year we spend some time doing some planning. You might call it strategic planning, action planning. But we really think about what we need in our organization to move us to the next level. And for leadership in particular, we thought about change management. What do we need to communicate? What kind of training do we need to provide? Our culture, what do we need related to our culture and our specific to our leadership? How do we need to incorporate daily lean and the leadership elements of that as well? The projects that we have in the agency, we'll talk more about that later. What resources we might need, and the results, right? So what do we do with the results? So I'm going to go into each of these elements with you and ask you to be thinking about the leadership lens and how you might take some of these elements and maybe even modify them to meet your needs and incorporate them into your work, right, in your organization. All right, so change management, first and foremost, I'm going to say sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it all day long. The what, right? Sell the what we're doing, the why we're doing it, right? What's in it for leaders to actually do it? What's in it for the agency? and really important, how it supports current efforts. Okay, so lean is not something to add on to your work. That is really critical. I can think of so many folks that have said, I don't have time for this. I have all of this other stuff going on, right? Well, if you actually promote it as something that's going to help them with the things that they already have going on, it's more of a resource versus an addition, right? And I have on this slide a picture of birds flying in V formation. And that just basically shows you that if everyone knows where you're going, right? And you're talking about what are we doing? Why are we doing it? What's in it for them? What's in it for the agency and how it supports other efforts, you get there quicker, right? So just like birds flying in formation, the drag is a lot less, right? When you're further behind, if you've got someone flying point. And when they get tired, they can rotate into another spot and someone else can take point, right? So, okay. So, all right. So I showed this slide already, kind of the what we're doing, why we're doing it, all of the what's in it for you. I'm going to take just a minute and go ahead and put into the chat again. And I know Results Washington team, I did not put this in there. If you can turn on the chat for me real quick. Go ahead and put in here what's in it for leaders. Okay, what specifically is in it for leaders, a specific leader, yourself, if you have a culture like this, right? So think a little bit selfishly a little bit for a minute. Okay, what's in it for me as an individual? Empowered, energized workforce. Employees happy, meeting our strategic goals, more productivity, happy staff, engaged team, learn to trust, motivated, trust again, efficiencies, more productivity again, everything, improve morale, efficiency again. Yeah, don't have to do as much work, right? That is huge. If you let go of control, if leaders let go of control and empower their employees, their work gets a lot easier. Ownership of processes, more time to work on other stuff. Yeah, all these great things. Happy employees who are productive and trusted leaders and trust leaders when next hurdle or change comes up. Yeah, all of these wonderful things. So keep in mind all of these things because these are important selling points, right? All right. Okay, so I talked a little bit about alignment. And I'm going to walk through the alignment that we at Revenue have and kind of show you how you could make those connections, right? So what I have on the screen right now is the governor's strategic framework, which includes his vision, a working Washington built on education and innovation, the mission, which includes continuous improvement, job creation, prepared students, value for our environment, our health, and our people. The foundational element I have circled in red, operate state government with the expectation that that success is dependent on the success of all. That is a specific connection that we at Department of Revenue see to the governor's strategic framework. The goals, so there's 5 goals on here. Revenue connects mostly to prosperous economy and that efficient, effective, and accountable government. Okay, so those are the connections that we make, right? If you go a little bit further, this is a little bit of a busy slide. And what's on the screen are 5 different points. The first being the strategic direction, which I just walked through with you and showed you those connections. At Revenue, we have something called our fundamentals map that really depicts and shows all of the functions that we have in the agency, both our operating functions, which are typically those that are more external customer focused, and then our supporting processes, which are those processes that we have in the agency that are supporting the operational stuff. So our HR stuff, our IT work, all of our employee development, okay? And number 3 on here, our strategic direction, okay? So our strategic plan. Number 4 are our measurements. So our various measurement systems. We have an executive dashboard that our wonderful Jeremiah Wedding created for us in Power BI. We also have performance management tracking system. So that's number 4. And then number 5, we have this thing called how we improve, right? So anything that we do at Department of Revenue around process improvement should be helping with one of these other 4 things, right? So it's not addition, right? If a performance measure shows that we're off target, something's happening, we look at it and say, is there an assignable cause? If there's not an assignable cause, maybe we need to do some process improvement, right? For our strategic direction, we usually have a handful. Each strategic plan, we have a handful of things that we're doing strategically at the agency, and using our lean and continuous improvement tools to help us achieve that. Okay. I think about our, right now we are looking at wanting to replace our legislative tracking system. So our lean transformation office says, okay, so you want to replace this. Do you need some help with mapping any of your processes that you have where you actually utilize this tracking system to figure out how do you want it to work, right? So that's one example where we would actually offer that help. All right, in addition to those things that to lean and continuous improvement that we have in box 5 here are, we have internal audit resources that are available to help with those things, internal controls office that can help with those things, our voice of the customer, our communications group, and then some information management type services. So my goal with this slide is really to show that box number 5 really should be supporting other work that's going on in the organization, right? So not like you all have to do a project this year. Now, what do you got going on where we can actually support you, right? So really selling it in that way. All right, so how could you sell alignment of your continuous improvement efforts to your agency, showing those connections? Okay, so I want you to think about that for just a moment, and then go ahead and put in chat how you could sell that alignment. I'm just going to give you a minute to reflect, and then just go ahead and pop them in chat for me. What's important or an issue for the customer, including information to all and asking for input by connecting it to the strategic plan. Write a plan. These are going quickly. You have to read faster. Focus on a common goal. Yep. What should be easy can be apply process change to organizational goals, updating and improving policies and procedures, how KPIs impact our strategy, helping teams align with our goals, our 2024 goals. Yeah. Ask if there's something that needs to be improved to work to streamline a process, using automated processes, more time for work instead of grub work. Yeah. So showing those alignments, right? Try to get rid of that mentality that some may have. They're like, oh, this lean thing is this extra thing out here. No, it's absolutely not. It's here to support you with what you're already working on. Listen to what they need. Yeah, listen to what they need. Build a project calendar for cost effectiveness of implemented processes. A survey of employee needs. Yeah, so build those connections, right? It's not extra work. Leaders won't want it if it's extra work, right? It is truly there to support them in the work that they're already doing. All right, so I want to share with you some of the things. I'm going to go back in time here. Some of the things that we have done to really build that leadership support and engagement. So what is on the screen here is a picture of our 2013 Greenbelt class. So way back when, 10 years ago, I look a little younger in this photo. I had longer hair. But what I wanted to share with you here is right out of the gate, when we first really started, promoting lean in state government, the Department of Revenue, we're like, okay, what do we need to do to really build a coalition, a supporting coalition? And we're like, we're going to do our first Greenbelt class. And what you may not know about this Greenbelt class is this photo has the current director in it, and she was there basically the current at the time. She was there recognizing the folks who were graduating. But the other folks in this photo, we have someone, Vicki Smith, who became our director. We have several, several people that became assistant directors. We have one person in here who became a senior assistant director. So we really built that kind of like that coalition of key leaders to really help understand and promote it, right? In addition to this, I'm just going to share with you some of the stats that we have as of right now. Okay, so we have several different courses that we offer at Revenue, and this actually builds the leadership support as well. We do a Lean 101 class. That's the basics of Lean. It's like an hour and a half of current employees as of last week. So anyone who left the agency is not included in this count. Okay, of current employees, 485 out of about 1,300 have taken the Lean 101 class. About 480, one of them have taken our Lean 102 class, which is basically how to map a process, right? So visually map a process. 587 have taken problem solving the Washington way. So that means 587 people have a common way of doing problem solving, kind of a recipe, so to speak, right? Of those, 176 of them are a supervisor or a manager. I think we have about 200, I'm not sure exactly, 200 and some supervisors and managers now. Lean leadership. So our course on lean leadership is a one-day course that really helps build the leadership knowledge, skills, and abilities for a lean culture. And it covers lots of things like culture. It covers process improvement. It covers the value of actually measuring your processes, right? And having data to support them, what you need to do to engage employees, right? So we have 194 current employees that have taken that course. 126 of them are a supervisor or a manager. And then we also introduced Introduction to Change Management a few years ago. And it's basically a 2-hour class that talks about, how do we do change management well? And change management isn't this extra thing that you do, you fold it into the work that you're already doing, whether it be a process improvement or otherwise. And 137 of those are managers, supervisor. So I tell you this because it's really critical to really build that coalition with your leaders and continue to build it over time, right? So I want to share with you just a couple more photos. So next you see a Greenbelt class of 2014. In this class, we also have some leaders in there. The class of 2016, and Sandra Kanoshita did both of these two classes when she was with Revenue. Leaders there as well, so smart thinking, right? You actually see Marcus Glasper in here, who's now the director at Department of Licensing, right? So COVID happens, right? Do we stop? Heck no, right? So we did a class in 2022. They graduated in November of 2022. And we had some people remotely. What the picture on the screen right now is celebrating that. So we have this nice balloon arch that Morgan Montez was really adamant and passionate about having. So the balloon arch, we have a few people that are on a screen and you can see them smiling, and then several people in the classroom itself. So adjusting and not letting things, just because COVID happened, not letting things die down, right? Continue that work. All right. So another way that we make sure that it's front and center is we have visuals. What's on the screen right now is a poster that is displayed in our offices. It has hands, a whole bunch of different hands crossing, and it says engaging employees and customers, respect for people, value for customers, continuous improvement, think lean, right? So if you come into any of our offices, you will see this poster. And this is something we've had, since 2013. We've always had some kind of a poster out there. I think it was 2013. But really making sure that we're embedding it visually, the things we're doing, we're saying, the things you can see above the water line, right? Think about an iceberg, and the things that are below it, right? So we have green belts in every single division. Okay. We have what's called yellow belts in every single division. So our yellow belts are those people who have taken those first three classes, Lean 101, 102, and 9-step problem solving. In addition to taking those classes, they actually did something with each of the classes. So they basically take them and then they use some tools, and then they share with Lean Transformation Office what they have done, and they get some coaching, and then they get their yellow belt. So our goal there with the yellow belt is just beyond taking the training, use it, right? And then we do quarterly check-ins with our executive team. So during those, we share results. We keep it in front of them all the time, right? Keeping it fresh and in front of them all the time. Okay. So culture, again, embedded into our everyday work. I mentioned quarterly check-ins with the executive team. We also do quarterly check-ins with every single assistant director. And we ask them, I think someone put this in the chat, how can we help you? What are you working on right now, right? And then we offer Lean support and services in those things they're already working on. Not, do you have a project this year? It's like, what do you got going on? Oh, well, we might be able to help you with this or that, right? Really engaging leaders in the recognition. Recognition goes so far. Oh my goodness. It goes way further than a stick, right? Way further, right? Recognizing the behavior that you're looking for and actually engaging the supervisor or the manager and the leader in doing that recognition. One example of that is when someone receives their yellow belt, our assistant director for that division that that person is in will actually deliver that yellow belt to them and talk to them. And they're usually, and they can recognize in different ways, but a lot of them do them in front of team meetings, those types of things. Every quarter we share division data with them, the assistant directors, whether it be their training data, survey data, etc. So keeping that data in front of them that shows how they're doing with their Lean culture. Sharing learning opportunities. So we will share what trainings we have coming up, also offer individual division specific training. And some really like that. Like I know one of our taxpayer services office and our taxpayer account administration office really wanted to have their leadership together go through Lean leadership. So all their supervisors and managers go through it together so they could learn together. So we do that, right? Adjust and meet their needs. We check in on their division projects. The Lean Transformation Office is there to support what they're doing, but they really own their projects. So we talk to them about their projects, really want them to engage in them, ask about how their projects are going, right? So keeping that ownership where it belongs. All right, so this is one of the stats that we show our leadership, our assistant directors at least once a year. And I know it's going to change a little bit because I know the questions on the employee survey changed this year, but we'll find a way to, show some overtime somehow. But what's on the screen is results for the question. I am encouraged to come up with better ways of doing things. Results started in 2016 and go through this last survey last year, not the one that's open right now, but last year's survey. And there's a gray line that shows the statewide average. And from 2016, it was like 57%. And now it's 59% in 2022. There is a bluish line here that shows revenues, and our current results from this last year are 74%. And there's a trend line that shows a slight upward trend. We really want it to be at 80% or above. We're at 74%, but we do share these results with the assistant directors specific to their divisions and a comparison with other divisions. Okay, so they get that every year. And what's on the right-hand side of the screen is the top ways to engage employees. And these were developed by our employees. Get to know employees as individuals and build trusting relationships. So that kind of gives them a like, don't forget about this, right? So showing the data, that's really, really important. Okay, also with that, we actually share with them some analysis related to that. So specific to their divisions. And what I have on my screen right now is analysis that's specific to where it's really to the whole agency, right? So our results are remaining strong. We've had 74% of responses were positive. We are a leader and we exceed statewide average by 15% this last year. Our 80% remains an ambitious target because we haven't hit it yet, but we can definitely do it. And then shows a comparison from 2018, and then the actions that the Lean Transformation Office is doing to take it, to continue to build that. So it's important to always keep that data and information in front of leaders. All right. Another way we keep it in front of leaders. We have what's on my screen right now is what we call one of our mini posters. This particular one is daily lean, meaning there wasn't a big lean workshop, right? It was, a process improvement that happened within a division. They set some goals, right? And I'm going to just pull up real quick. I'm going to make this bigger so I can walk you through this. Give me just a second here. I get the right screen. Okay. So what's on this mini poster? And a mini poster goes in a couple of places. It goes online, so our intranet. It goes on our Lean intranet site as well. It goes in our quarterly newsletter, and it's printed and physically displayed in our offices. So what this covers is an example, right? So in this example, one of our managers collaboratively problem solved with a team to improve customer experience. It has who the manager is, the problem that they were faced with, right? And the problem in this example was examiners spend 2 hours preparing a permit appeal. Okay. That they got together and did some process improvement, the results of it, right? So customers have an increased understanding of why their permit was denied. The appeals rate dropped from 18% down to 15%, which is a 16.7% reduction in appeals. And the examiners are saving a total of 124 hours preparing appeals. This wasn't a big lean workshop. This was a small thing that they did on their own. But what I really want to call out here is what the supervisor, actually the assistant director, did. They put a testimonial in here. They said process improvement is a way of life in TAA, which is Taxpayer Account Administration. These past 2 years, and this was during COVID, have highlighted that more than ever. Our staff and their process improvement ideas are key to our success. So that recognition and engaging that leader in that recognition is huge, right? So that's one example. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint here if I can get to it. I think it's that one. All right, can you all see the presentation again? I want to make sure you're looking at the right screen.
Yeah, looks good.
Awesome. Okay. All right, recognition, recognition, recognition. It goes so far. So engage leaders in that recognition. They love it. The employees love it. It's just all goodness. All right. So I talked about projects, right? So when we meet with our assistant directors, we ask about things that they have going on strategically, and the things that they have going on operationally. So, and really getting them, I mentioned this already, with the example of the legislative tracking system, but making sure that they're really seeing us as supporting that work, right? We also have, when we do a project, like when we do actual lean project, a lean workshop, which is multiple days, right? We have a report out at the end of the workshop, which is this is what we want to do. And this is what we think we're going to get out of it. We also do, when it's fully implemented, they've piloted, they've tried it out, they've decided what they're going to keep, what they're going to adjust, etc. And they have, what's the right word? They have sustained the process, right? It's had time to kind of work out the kinks. They then come back and report out to our leadership team the actual results. And this is so cool. And again, we only have about, I'll get more into this. We have about average of 5 full lean workshops a year. But they come and they share in front of leadership team, which is an opportunity for learning. It's a huge opportunity for recognition, not only for that team, but also for that assistant director and that manager who actually, really empowered that team to improve something. It's a great opportunity for celebration. It's just all of them have been like feel good. And they're only about 20 minutes, but I mean, that's 20 minutes well spent, right? And it definitely keeps lean and continuous improvement in front of our leaders, right? And I have equals fun at the bottom because they are fun. They are fun. Fun also sells. All right, so what's on the screen now is a chart. So these are the lean projects that the Lean Transformation Office has, has facilitated with a green belt, right? So I mentioned 5, right? So we have an average of 5 full lean workshops a year, which is not that many because really our best bang for our buck is that daily lean, right? Daily lean things that are going on, that continuous improvement at the, without having to do a full workshop. But we do share the project results and we track them over time. So also on the screen, so we have fiscal year 19 all the way through the current fiscal year. Okay, and we have projects that results were received, those projects that are in progress, meaning they are implementing, right? So they're implementing their action plan. One time in my time at Revenue so far, we had one that was discontinued, and that's okay. There are reasons why that happens, right? And then we have projects that are completed, but the results are still pending. That means they're stabilizing and they're not yet ready to share their results. So we share this with the executive team every quarter, right? So we have a quarterly check-in with the executive team and share where they're at. And really encourage them to also engage. The executive team really includes our senior assistant directors. So it's a very small team. And then they have assistant directors underneath them so they can actually check in too, right? So constantly keeping it in front of them. Okay, Talia, I want to do a quick time check. How am I doing here? I don't have a clock in front of me.
Oh, you're good. You're at 11:42.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, so results. Here's another example. I'm gonna just see if I can pull this one up for you. This is an actual lean workshop. Oops, this one, right. 1 second, here we go. All right, can you all see that?
Yep, looks good.
I'll better move the chat out of the way, huh? Okay, so this particular lean workshop was our estate tax team, and they were striving to decrease processing time for customers. And they actually did a full lean workshop. And initially they were like, we want a new system, right? And they knew they wanted a new system, but really we want to focus on improving what we can improve before we even think about systems, right? So they did, and they got together and they did some improvements. And again, this is really, I'm showing this to you because I want you to see it as a way to recognize and to keep it in front of folks. So they had their problem statement, just like the last one I shared with you. They had the improvements that they made, right? So they eliminated 3 process steps. They reduced the error rate by 25%. They reduced overall processing time, and they basically created a state tax Excel spreadsheet for people to use. They have the results on here. So they had 73, they actually had a huge decrease, a 66% decrease in aged inventory. So they were trying to get through those estate tax returns. But what I really want to show you on this one is there are 2 testimonials from customers. One customer said, I love the Excel version of the estate form. The workbook makes it so much sense. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for making it calculate. And then another one, fantastic idea to come up with this spreadsheet. So we have like the true voice of the external customer using this. And then over in the right-hand corner, we have the audit program or audit division's program manager shared her thoughts. And she shared, I'm really proud of the estate tax team. Change is hard. They dove in and brought their energy and ideas to the lean event and the work that comes after. The commitment to making incremental improvement is benefiting their customers' experience. Again, engaging, right? Coming back to engaging that leader, the leaders, right? Okay. Almost done here, and then we'll take some questions. All right, let me make sure I got the right screen showing again. Oops. 1 second. All right, it doesn't show me what screen. Do you see resources, identify what you need?
I do. I see resources and the 4 boxes.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so some lasting thoughts here. You need to make sure that you have resources that you need to have a continuous improvement culture, and identifying what they are, right? What are those things that we need? You know, is it a half-time position? Is it a full-time position? Is it a position at all? Is it money for doing posters? Is it time? You know, what are the resources you need? And then ask for what you need, right? Including what you need from them being leadership, what you need from them as well. And maybe that's some of their time, right? Making the case for the lean culture, and then being persistent. I mentioned revenue has been working on continuous improvement for as long as I know of, right? Continuously sticking with it. And not that COVID came, so we threw it to the side kind of a thing. No, we stick with it, right? Be persistent. Okay. All right. A couple more things. Another way we keep it in front of people, we do have on our inside revenue, which is our internal intranet. This is our main page right here. You can see that lean, there's a little box here on that main page that has the lean icon on it. I don't say logo because we only have one icon on it. So making it, I mean, obviously it's important, right? And I remember when we were redesigning our inside revenue intranet, lean was not on here initially. And it was really wonderful to have the then director say, well, why isn't lean on the main page? And then it ended up on there. But for her to say that, again, somewhere along the line, we built in support, right? I think it was way back in 2013 when she took that green belt class and sticking with it. So make sure it's front and center. People know it's a priority. All right, so what is one thing that you are going to try based on this session? So I'm going to give you a second to think about that, or a couple seconds, and if you can put it in the chat, that would be wonderful. One thing you are going to try. Where is my chat? There we go. I'm not used to Zoom. Okay. Sell, OCM. Going to try some posters, mini posters, more consistent recognition, sticking with it, recognition again. I like the idea of flyers, leader recognition, more engaged leadership, celebrations, recognition. Oh my gosh, I love all the recognition. Lean is not more work. Write up a plan. Continue to train coworkers on lean tools. Yeah, identify who in my department has taken lean training classes, more training, having senior leadership present lean certifications. Awesome. Oh, good. I'm so happy to see all those. All right. Oh, work with leadership to identify the best way to recognize their team. Yeah, they know best how to recognize their team, right? Everyone likes recognition a little bit differently. Fiscal year 24, oops, I got to go back up to that one. Appreciate the handout for inspiration. Share what I learned from this training. Awesome. All right, so lessons learned. show those linkages, right? The sooner you can show those linkages to the other things that we have going on and how it supports the agency goals, for example, or the governor's strategic direction, show those linkages. The sooner you do that, the better. Show the results often. And that's not just of lean workshops. It's like, how are you going to look at and measure your lean or continuous improvement culture, whether it be your employee engagement, what have you, right? The small process improvements, those results go just as far, if not further, than like the full lean workshop stuff. Build that coalition early. Find the people who are, you're always going to have people that are like, oh, that lean thing over there. Don't focus on them. They'll either come along or they won't, right? Build that coalition of folks who really want it, right? And they will help sell it, right? And I'm going to say again, be persistent. The visual that you see on the screen here are little drops of water. They do grow over time. Ripples definitely grow. Okay. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take questions.
Oh, yes, we've got a lot of good ones here. All right. So regarding your fundamentals map and related scorecards, how does your leadership keep your measures current? Any successful tactics on how you either sunset those no longer meaningful and or add new things to measure?
Well, the really nice and cool thing that we have going on right now is we have a data-driven decisions program that's led by Jeremiah Wedding. And when we meet, the Lean Transformation Office meets with the ADs every quarter. And he talks with them in between there too. He does talk to them about their measures, right? And I think he's had 5 divisions so far in the last, I think, about a year, come forward and say, yep, I want some help looking at my measures, right? So we do want people to measure things that they care about and not just what they've always measured, and have them be valuable. So we have dedicated resource to help with that.
Awesome. Thank you. That data-driven decision course is awesome. I took that at a different agency.
Awesome.
Very cool. What are some strategies you've used when leaders are resistant to process improvement?
Really focusing on those that are not resistant is a number one. You can push just a little bit, and try to sell. Most people are going to buy. There might be that one or two that don't. But I tell you, I can think about one situation where I had a leader that was a little bit less, not resistant, but less excited about it. So I just worked with their supervisors and managers, right? And before you knew it, they were coming along, and it was great. So, again, working with those willing and able and folks that want your service, and then selling it, right? Taking that result and helping to elevate it, so that those folks get recognition. People want recognition. So show the data.
Awesome. Yeah, data for sure. Would you please say again all the places you share those mini posters?
We share them physically, right, in all of our offices. So if you walk into our break room, for example, in our building, you'll see the mini posters there. We have a little area, like a little sink area that's not in the break room, that we have them there. So we put them in our offices. We share them on our intranet, so our lean page of our intranet. We share them in our monthly newsletters, right? So we have an internal revenues newsletter, and we have each of the posters there, and people can click on them and make them bigger. And then we also have them on Inside Revenue. We'll pop them up on Inside Revenue in not the lean page, but the other page as well. So yeah, get them out there.
For sure. Okay, let's see. What does your transformation office look like? Meaning, how many and do they have different roles, like building, training, communications, etc.?
We are small, but we are mighty. We are a team of 3. So we have myself, me. So I'm the administrator. We have Jeremiah Wedding, who is focused on the data-driven decisions part of things, so the data elements, and then Jennifer Panko. And she is really focused on process improvement, delivering training, those types of things. So, and I kind of mix in there throughout. So I deliver some of the trainings, lean leadership, for example, stuff like this. So we're small, but we are mighty, and we are all passionate about our work, which if you have a lean office or a process improvement office, make sure the people that are in it that really love the work that they're doing. So, and because you'll get a lot out of them.
Yeah, for sure. You're speaking my love language with this topic, so I get that. And you just answered one of the questions. You all do the lean training yourselves.
Yeah.
How do you select your candidates
For what? For the
for whoever's going to take your course, your lean course?
well, our classes are open to all except for our green belt class. So all employees can take lean leadership, for example. You don't have to be a supervisor or management. If you're trying manager, if you're trying to grow your own leadership skills, you can take that class. Our green belt class, which you might have noticed, we had one in 2016 and then we had one in 2022. So there was a big time frame there. We select the Lean Transformation Office does not select them. Our assistant directors and their divisions select their folks. But we do look at kind of, how many do we have? And we want one in each division, for example. So if one division, has two they probably won't get one in 20, they probably didn't get one in 2022. So we have, some criteria that we have them think about, right? So things like, have they taken facilitation course before, and do they want to be a facilitator? Right.
Yeah.
This thing is to train someone and have them say, oh my gosh, I don't want to be a facilitator, right? So have them take get their yellow belt, right? Which gives them a little bit of knowledge about, do I want to go further, the next step? They have the ability to commit, they being the assistant director has the ability to commit a little bit of that person's time for agency-wide lean culture efforts. So those are the criteria that we give, the assistant directors to have them select who they would like to put forward.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
A few more questions. Let's see. How do you make the case when everyone on your team feels they don't have time for this work because everything's so urgent?
Well, I'm going to go back to, what do they already have going on? What is that urgent thing or things that they already have going on? And oh, by the way, here are some resources, whether it be facilitating something for you, process improvement, etc., that will help you with that thing you already have going on, right? So connecting it back to that we're here to give you resources. You're not on your own with this urgent thing you have going on. We're here to support you with that.
Right, and it's not something separate. It's something that's going to add to
Yeah,
whatever your current mission is, right? That's awesome.
100%.
All right. Another one says, it often seems like our agency uses trainings to check boxes rather than take the content seriously for implementation. What are some ways we can influence leaders to take what's being presented seriously and take active steps to embed it in our culture?
Well, one of the things that we did at Revenue was we had that, that yellow belt certification. The certification is basically, it's a really cool way to recognize people, but you don't get that certification unless you actually use the tools, right? If you use the tools and you see the benefit of using them, the chances are you're going to want to use them more. So, as our employees get that certification, um, and it's a certification, but it's more than that. It's so much more. It's like, okay, I took this class, I wasn't just dipped in it, I actually used it, right? And then the supervisors and the managers and the assistant directors, they actually get to see the results of that person using that tool. So they use 9-step problem solving, for example. This is what they did, right?
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, just a couple more real quick ones. Do you teach the Lean 101, 102, and problem solving courses virtually, in person, or hybrid? How many people can you enroll in these classes?
We teach them both. We meet our internal customer needs. So we do 4 per year for sure of each class. like for sure. One of them is definitely in person. The other three are virtual. But in addition to that, we actually, if they want their own class, we will do whatever they want related to that. If they're virtual or in person, we always make sure that we're doing what that particular group wants. So did I get that whole question there, Talia?
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
did. Thank
yeah,
you for that.
you bet.
Um, Time for one more quick one. How do you find improvement opportunities after the low-hanging fruit is already picked?
There's always low hanging fruit. It doesn't matter what process you're looking at, there's always opportunity for continuous improvement. So I'll just put that out there. You know, if you're not seeing it, it's definitely there. Low hanging fruit is always there, but you know, you can
But
do
if
a
that's
full.
already picked, if the low-hanging fruit is already picked, then how do you look for another process improvement? Pick chart maybe?
You could use a pick chart, but I mean, our office is here to support what the divisions are doing. So we don't select their improvements. You know, they bring them forward. So I would recommend if an AD came to me or a supervisor or manager came to us and said, all of our low hanging fruit is already taken care of. We've already picked it. We want to do more process improvement. How do I decide? I would ask them, what's bugging you? What's bugging your customers,
That's
right?
right.
What's bugging your customers and take it from that angle. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Cindy. I apologize, everyone. We're so out of time. That was such a good Q&A session. It was really hard to stop. Thank you so much, Cindy. That was such a great presentation. Thank you to our